What really makes you want to take on these big cases?
I'm glad I did. I would have never got to know Lindsay if I didn't.
Dramatic scenes unfolded outside Plymouth Superior Court as defense attorney Kevin Reddington issued a bold demand for a mistrial in the Lindsay Clancy murder trial. Following a tense courtroom clash over religious testimony and state psychiatric claims, Reddington spoke exclusively about Clancy's deteriorating state and his strategy heading into closing arguments. The high-stakes murder trial of Lindsay Clancy took a sudden, dramatic turn when defense attorney Kevin Reddington requested a mistrial following controversial testimony from state forensic psychologist Dr. Kirk Heilbrunn. The dispute erupted when Dr. Heilbrunn brought Clancy's Roman Catholic background and the concept of religious sin into his analysis of her mindset surrounding suicide. Reddington immediately called for a mistrial outside the jury's presence, arguing that introducing religion was intentional misconduct by the prosecution.
She was raised as a Catholic, and this, as I understand, Catholic considerations, that's not necessarily what happens, but when I asked her about that, when I said, isn't suicide a mortal sin?
Yeah, can I see counsel over here?
Though Judge William Sullivan denied the motion, he sharply questioned why Clancy's faith was raised, instructed the jury to disregard the testimony as irrelevant, and sent jurors home early on Monday afternoon.
I'm not going to declare a mistrial at this time. What I am going to do is I'm going to bring the jury in. I'm going to tell them to disregard it. I'm going to tell them that's an inappropriate area of inquiry, and that this witness's understanding of Catholic dogma or Catholic teaching is irrelevant.
Speaking outside court shortly after, Reddington reacted to the judge's decision.
I knew that Judge Sullivan would exercise his discretion, and he would give a strong instruction if he denied the motion. So that's what he did.
This is the second time mortal sin has come up.
Well, they didn't say mortal sin today. They made reference to the Roman Catholic religion and sin, but they didn't use the mortal sin analogy today.
Are you concerned the jury won't be able to overlook it?
No, I have no doubt that the jury will listen to the judge's instructions and be able to overlook it. Yep.
The controversy over religion marked the second time the topic surfaced during trial proceedings. Earlier in the trial, Clancy's former mother-in-law was questioned about whether murder was considered a mortal sin.
Now, are you an active member in the Catholic Church?
Yes.
So you're aware that murder is considered a mortal sin?
Yeah, counsel, can I see you over here?
Despite the friction inside the courtroom, Reddington maintained that the afternoon's drama had not shaken his confidence or altered his strategy heading into closing arguments. While acknowledging the unpredictability of a jury trial, the veteran defense attorney expressed satisfaction with how the defense evidence had been presented.
Does this impact your mindset at all going into closing arguments in just a few days?
Not at all. Nope.
Are you still very confident?
Did I ever say I was? It's a trial. You never know. Up or down. You're happy. You're not. Who knows? But yeah, it's been a good trial. I think the evidence has come out, and I feel pretty good about it. Yep.
You don't feel what was said today was grounds for an appeal?
What's that?
You don't feel what was said today could be grounds for any appeal?
Well, you have to be found guilty before you do an appeal, and I'd rather not have her found guilty. So.
The mistrial motion capped an exceptionally combative day inside Plymouth Superior Court. Prior to Dr. Heilbrunn's testimony, Reddington engaged in a fierce cross-examination of prosecution psychiatrist Dr. Avram Mack, tearing into his experience and medical conclusions regarding Clancy's sanity. Tensions boiled over when Dr. Mack appeared to smile on the stand, prompting Reddington to snap, "What are you smiling for? This is not funny, sir."
Wait, what are you smiling for? This is not funny, sir.
Sustained.
Next question. MMPI, K-scale, focus. What does it mean, sir?
Judge Sullivan also reprimanded the state witness, reminding him to answer questions directly rather than asking them. Jurors were seen shaking their heads and rolling their eyes during portions of Mack's testimony, while Clancy herself appeared to smirk after he was dismissed. Following Mack, Dr. Heilbrunn testified for the prosecution, directly challenging the defense claim that Clancy suffered from postpartum psychosis and acted under command hallucinations. Heilbrunn testified that her account of hearing a male voice for only 18 minutes was highly unusual, suggesting exaggerated or fabricated hallucinations, and offered an alternative theory of suicide combined with altruistic filicide. Addressing reporters outside, Reddington commented on Clancy's mental state during these intense expert exchanges.
What was Lindsay's mindset?
She doesn't have a mindset. She just listens and sits there. And I think probably they realized that it was in every respect a legitimate, serious suicide attempt. I think we proved that, and I think they might be trying to back away from it.
What's Lindsay's mental state now? You kind of got into it a little bit today during some of your questioning.
Yeah, that's what I'll do is probably tomorrow, get into it a little bit, but I'm not going to talk about that. For mistrial, he gave a forceful instruction, and we, under the law, assume the juries listen to the instruction. I have no doubt that they will, and we're ready to move on.
With nearly 5 weeks of evidence and exhibits presented to the panel, the trial is nearing its final stage. Clancy has admitted to strangling her 3 children, 5-year-old Cora, 3-year-old Dawson, and 8-month-old Callan, on January 24, 2023, before jumping from a second-story window. While prosecutors argue she understood her actions were wrong, the defense maintains she is not criminally responsible due to mental illness. Speaking about his daily routine and the trial's timeline, Reddington detailed what remains before the case goes to the jury.
What's the main thing that amps you up for the day, to get things going? Is there anything that you do in preparation each day, just in terms of mentally? Coffee. We heard you don't eat much and you just stay
That's usually
caffeinated.
caffeinated. That's it. And when I used to smoke, I'd smoke a lot. Now I don't smoke, so I got to drink more coffee.
Fantastic. What can we expect tomorrow, do you think?
We'll finish up with Dr. Heilbrunn, and then they bring in Dr. Satoff, then they rest. We do a jury charge conference, and closing's on Wednesday.
Do you think it's going to be long, hopefully not the jury coming back?
Oh, I don't know.
You really don't know?
No.
You don't want to think ahead too far?
Never can tell. These people have spent 5 weeks out of their life, It's an awful lot of evidence, a lot of exhibits, and they're working hard.
Throughout the multi-week trial, crowds of supporters wearing pink have gathered outside the Plymouth courthouse to rally behind Clancy. Clancy, who remains paralyzed from her suicide attempt, is currently receiving treatment at Duxbury Hospital and is wheeled into court daily, accompanied by medical staff. Reddington revealed that he regularly passes along the news of this public backing to Clancy, noting that while she remains under heavy medication and exhibits a flat effect, knowing people recognize her as a good person dealt a bad hand by medical providers means a great deal to her.
How do you feel about all the support? We just got here, but how do you feel about all the support here?
I think it's very nice. Lindsay is, she's pretty beat up and is used to not having support, and I think it means a lot to her.
Do you think she knows quite how much support is on the outside now?
Yeah, I've tried to tell her that there's an awful lot of people that are behind her and at least recognize the fact that she's a nice person and was dealt bad by the medical profession.
But you feel she doesn't have any mental state? You feel she's still in a bad way?
No, she's under medication. She's, as we brought out today, she's, doing okay and, in the hospital. But yeah, she still has a flat affect.
For veteran defense attorney Kevin Reddington, defending Lindsay Clancy has become a deeply personal assignment in a career spanning over 4 decades. Reflecting on his bond with Clancy and her family, Reddington confirmed he plans to remain in contact with them long after the verdict is delivered.
Your career is so incredible, after all these years. What really makes you want to take on these big cases?
I'm glad I did. I would have never got to know Lindsay if I didn't.
Do you think you'd still stay in touch with the family afterwards?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, of course. Absolutely.
With testimony wrapping up and closing arguments happening this week, the jury will soon decide whether Lindsay Clancy is guilty of murder or not guilty by reason of insanity.